Today is an important day in the civil rights history of this country. On June 12, 1963, civil rights activist Medgar Evers was assassinated by a white supremacist opposed to his fight against segregation in the South. The killer went unpunished for 3 decades, but the murder galvanized civil rights activists across the country. And on this day in 1967, in Loving v. Virginia, the Supreme Court struck down laws banning interracial marriage, finally declaring that couples like Mildred and Richard Loving could marry, a great step forward for civil rights. But today on Capitol Hill, we saw another scene altogether. The nation's first African-American Attorney General, Eric Holder, went before a Senate panel and endured yet another series of disrespectful, dishonest attacks by Republican lawmakers.
You won't cooperate with a legitimate congressional investigation, and you won't hold anyone, including yourself, accountable. Your department blocks states from implementing attempts to combat voter fraud. You leave me no alternative but to join those that call upon you to resign your office.
With all due respect, Senator, there's so much that's factually wrong with the premises that you started your statement with. I'd say it's almost breathtaking in its inaccuracy. So I don't have any intention of resigning.
And next week, House Republicans will launch an effort to hold the Attorney General in contempt of Congress. Joining me now is Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, ranking member on the Oversight Committee, where Republicans are attempting to hold Attorney General in contempt. Earlier this year, he issued a report debunking the GOP talking points on the so-called Fast and Furious program. Congressman, thanks for joining me.
Good to be with you.
What's your response to these new Republican calls for Attorney General Holder's resignation?
I think basically what we have is a witch hunt, and Reverend Al, it's clear that they are trying to they're asking the Attorney General to turn over information that is either illegal to turn over or information that would jeopardize witnesses and innocent people, innocent informants, or would do harm to prosecution of cases. And
now, let me stop you right there, because I want people to understand the Justice Department's cooperation on Fast and Furious has already turned over 140,000 documents that have been reviewed, 7,600 pages turned over, 8 hearings before Congress. All of this has already happened. You're talking about some of the sensitive things that they are raising questions about. But it's not like they've not cooperated and turned over a lot of things in this area.
Oh, they have cooperated tremendously. I mean, they've gone through, I think, over 1 million emails, and they've appeared. Of course, the Attorney General has appeared before Congress 9 times, Reverend, in 16 months. And I think his cooperation has been tremendous. And not only that, he's also said that he wants to sit down and try to resolve issues over those sensitive documents. But I don't blame the Attorney General. There are certain documents, like a wiretap affidavit, where if he were to release it, it would be a criminal violation, and he could go to jail for 5 years.
Well, let me pray where he said he's willing to sit down and work with them.
I am prepared to make compromises with regard to the documents that can be made available. I want to make it very clear that I am offering to sit down, I myself, I'm offering to sit down with the Speaker, with the Chairman, with you, whoever, to try to work our way through this.
Now, and you're saying that some of the stuff is sensitive, but he says, I'll sit down and work our way through it. But I also heard the senator attack him for dealing with voting rights, saying they were trying to deal with fraud.
When I heard that,
why are they afraid of the Justice Department investigating whether there is fraud?
When I heard that, Reverend, I mean, that showed me that what we've got is an election year witch hunt, calling for the highest law enforcement officer in the country to